Well, here we are again, my friends, with Koei's only Warriors title of 2019, at least for Japan, which I'm pretty sure is the only reason why this game exists. To have a Warriors title every single year since 1999, well, it's either that or to drain the fan base's wallets dry, which honestly wouldn't surprise me, as this game is basically what Warriors Orochi 4 should have released as. Now, before we get into the hardcore details, there's a few things I should lay out which might factor into this review. I'm playing the DLC version of this game, so I can't go back and check the vanilla version for some of the changes, so it will be from memory and old footage, and I will be comparing this to Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate, which is the pinnacle of this series, maybe somewhat unfairly. So let's go over the things I like and some of the changes. So there's loads of quality of life improvements, even though most of them could have actually been added in a patch to the vanilla game. You know, stuff like an actual working menu, the ability to swap the sacred treasures, which obviously only changes the strong and weak attacks. It doesn't change the unique ones, so which, yeah, to be fair, those two should have been in the base game. Absolutely bizarre. So character improvements, characters like Orochi, Noir, Fushi, all the unique characters to the Warriors Orochi series got a buff to be a bit stronger and more in line with the other characters in the game. And some animation changes like Musou's. No new attacks though, so the Rage Musou is still the basic attack, which is a bit crap. In line with the character improvements, characters like Cao Cao are better now because of the elemental activations on all charge attacks. Yeah, they have made some of the weaker characters a bit more in line, but Samurai Warriors characters still do have an edge of just, you know, being able to mow down enemies with one hyper attack, so they didn't nerf that. Magic got nerfed as well. It doesn't seem as powerful anymore. Obviously, if you do use a strong magic attack on the ethereal monster things that cast the shielding cloak thing, that basically still one-shots them, but magic is no longer like pretty useless. Musou attacks now are actually somewhat useful, as well as the, you know, team nuke attack, which I'm not sure if they sped that up or sometimes it just skips some of the animations. Yeah, that seems to be slightly faster, so they do tend to use it a little bit more. So the actual things I do enjoy about this game, which isn't an improvement or anything, is how overpowered you can be, which is basically what these games are meant to be. Starting from the first Warriors Orochi game, you could play as characters like Diao-chan and just one-shot anybody, which, yes, that is fun, but it also doesn't provide any challenge. I mean, at least in the older games, officers were somewhat smart and could like juggle you. In this, they seem to think difficulty is getting one-shotted for some unknown reason. Infinite mode, I like to an extent. The second part is at least alright, and it's the only real challenge, if you could call it, that this game has to offer. The first half of it, though, is absolute garbage. So objectives as well, another change. So when you want to get an S rank for a stage, in the vanilla game it used to be about 2,000 kills and complete in 17 minutes in this. They've actually reduced the KO count needed for the S rank. Not that it, you know, gives amazing rewards or anything, but it's to promote playing as Dynasty Warriors characters more. Not that you would know that, because you have to play the stage to know that you don't need as many KOs. So, you know, a bit of a weird change. And finally, Pandemonium Difficulty is now selectable. They have changed the difficulty in the game, so you have to play Pandemonium Difficulty if you want to get gold weapon attributes, which is a bit annoying. So what I don't like, so basically everything else. Let's go over some of the new things though. 7 new characters, 3 of them are guests. The guest characters are basically pointless though, with no unique or themed stages, unlike Warriors Orochi 3U or Warriors Orochi 3 in general, which these 3 have come from, those characters being Joan of Arc, Ryu Hayabusa and Achilles. At least in Warriors Orochi 3 there was some build up to you recruiting Achilles. Hayabusa was a part of the story in that game as well, and Joan of Arc was involved in rescuing some of the other characters, and they had theme stages to go along with it. So Hayabusa obviously had the Anagawa stage combined with Neo Tokyo, which was, pretty good. Here they are involved in older stages because, apparently inventing new stuff for this game, it seems to be impossible for Koei. Got to recycle that content from 2013. And yeah, it's just rather disappointing that they only re-added those three, even though one of the producers of this game, well, the previous producer said that Warriors All-Stars was going to be the game for crossovers, and yet here they are going back on their word to add 3 characters for no reason, other than to get, morons to buy the game, which if you go on Facebook or check the YouTube comments of any trailer for this game, then you'll see people going, "Oh, I want to play as Hayabusa again." There are good games with Hayabusa, and they're called Ninja Gaiden. So, pretty much utterly pointless adding those 3 because they add nothing to the story as well, which also adds to the fact there's no reason that the Samurai Warriors Spirit Sanada characters couldn't have been added, considering the 3 guest characters have no part in the story at all. Speaking of original content as well, there's only one new original stage, which is used about 6 or 7 times throughout the story, and it gets old really, really quickly. The fact that they have this stage repeated so many times, because this is where the last battle takes place as well, it lessens the effect you have on the last stage, which is a bit of a shame. It's really sad that they couldn't think of any new original, stages. That should be like the easiest thing they could do, because it would be easier to tailor the story around a stage they've made themselves, instead of, combining stages from the 2 series and, just make an absolute mess of it, and then you have a smaller pool of stages to choose from, and then they get old really, really quickly because you're repeating them so many times. Anyway, there are 3 old stages, I should say, returning in this one. So you got the Changshan map from 8 Extreme Legends, and then the Kanagasaki map from Samurai Warriors 2, and then they've combined Ueda Castle and Chensang, whatever it is. It's the one where Zhang Bao dies. They combine those 2 maps together. So in total, 4 technically new stages. So yeah, that's really what kills it for me, the lack of new and original content, or features in a way. So one of the returning features as well is the upgrade and promotion feature, along with new skills each character can get, which, let's be honest, the promotion feature never should have been removed for Warriors Orochi 4. It's hardly like, the game was finely tuned and balanced to not have it in, because basically you get one shot in this game and you can one shot anybody, so talk about balance. And those things as well, it's not really amazing. I'm trying to imply that these features are basically just stat additions to characters. It's kind of like something you could add yourself using like Cheat Engine or something like that. It's hardly like imaginative. It doesn't really require any effort on the developers' parts to add something to the characters, compared to Warriors Orochi 3's content, which I'll get on to in a minute. So there's new ultimate weapons as well, which are exactly the same skins as the unique weapons, which, funny that they called them that, but they have a different pink background. I'm not sure how powerful these are, because they're A, really expensive, B, a massive grind to get, and C, I don't want to try and get one, because why the fuck would I try and get a weapon which I've seen since, in some cases, Samurai Warriors 1 Extreme Legends. Maybe I'm being a negative Nancy here, but they couldn't even add new weapon skins. I mean, fucking hell. So let's compare that to Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate's new content. So in that game you got mystic weapons with unique requirements. You'd have to at least play as the character, not be an absolute passenger, in order to get those weapons. A colour changer, which you could change the colour of any character. Everyone got a new attack as well. Everyone got an aerial attack, which is quite nice. A second passive skill for everyone. Team attacks, those stupid cinematic things, which they do some wild combinations with each other. That was pretty cool. Some of them didn't make sense. I mean, why did Kai have one with Stirk when they literally never talk in the story? But whatever. New items and new cards for the duel mode, and the game modes linked together better. So Gauntlet mode, you got the new items from, and cards in story mode and duel mode, so they could all be used vice versa in all the different modes. Pretty good way of combining those things. Whereas this game, it's just like, where did the effort go? We didn't even get new costumes for characters in this. It's like, this game feels like a paid update. Like, literally, most of the stuff added in this game should have been just a free update to actually get people to fucking play the game. Remember Warriors All-Stars? Literally nobody is playing that game. I'm pretty sure Warriors Orochi 4 is in that same field. The only reason it stays alive is because it's a Warriors Orochi game. Although, let's face it, this game never should have been called Warriors Orochi 4. It's just riding the coattails of a once good series. And now look at it, just dead in a ditch, ruined because they already ruined Dynasty Warriors. So let's go over the story mode. So the story mode is still really scripted and does suffer a lot from vanilla Warriors Orochi 4. Stages do not progress unless you complete the objectives. So unlike Samurai Warriors 4 and Dynasty Warriors 8, where the stages would actually progress if you failed an objective. So for example, the Nanjun battle, where you play as Zhou and you have to defend that base. If you go out of that base and defeat enemies, the stage will still progress. It will become a lot harder and you won't get the star objective or whatever, but the stage will still progress. In this, like, there are so many closed gates and like it limits you to where you can go. Obviously some of the older games have done that, like Samurai Warriors 4, but it's not on the same level. At least it gave you like bonus objectives to go and find as well and complete, depending on who you're playing as. So it's more akin to Dynasty Warriors 7 in that way, but this storytelling is just so below par. It's like they really wanted to tell a story and then they do it in like the most pathetic way possible, because no matter who you pick in a stage, you're basically a bystander. You can pick characters that are in the stage and there'll be two of you. It's like you just wonder what they were thinking, and just the storytelling is so mediocre as well. Like, the thing that really annoys me about this, the story isn't in itself bad, but just the way they've laid it out is pretty horrible. The thing they always do is they get Yukimura to try and be friends with everybody. Like, spoiler alert, Hades is the bad guy, and Yukimura's just there, like, being best friends with him. Like, he's not on his side or anything, you're on opposite sides, and it's like, Hades don't know, blah 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 blah. It's like, mate, just, they do this every game. It's like everybody's got to be friends. It's just a fucking joke. Like, forget it. There's loads of back and forth throughout the stages. I mean, that's not something that's unheard of in Warriors games, but they don't feel like battles, if you know what I mean. There's no battle lines, there's no, main camp. It's basically just you and your friends pissing about. Yeah, most of the stages are the same as well. It's like defeat this and that. There are a few occasions where you don't actually defeat a last boss. You have to basically just stand there until a cutscene appears. And there's one part where Hades is all evil and stuff, and it's where Yang Jian unlocks his third eye or whatever. And you can sit there and hit Hades and he will not take any damage. He's not even staggered by it at all, and he'll just one-shot you. I mean, that's how scripted the games are. Yeah. So one thing I did actually enjoy was unlocking Perseus. So you get like these Perseus fragments, or they're like star fragments. You have to go into some of the older stages and you have to do certain objectives within a time limit to unlock him. Some of them are just like defeat enemies, blah blah blah. Another one's like open the castle gates within 10 minutes. And another one is, it's the one where it's Odawara and one castle, and you have to go into like the bottom corner within like 10 minutes and he'll just like appear there. So that's pretty cool. Not that it changes the stages that much, but still. So infinite mode is kind of like gauntlet mode, except total shite. It's split into two parts. The first part is pretty bad. The second part is actually quite fun. So the first part is split into 55 stages in all of these like miniature towers. I say 55 stages. They're split into like 11 towers with 5 stages each. But if you complete a stage with a good enough rating, it will let you skip a stage. So sometimes you only have to do 3 stages per tower. It's a bit strange. It's almost like they wanted people to skip the awful content that it's giving out. So each of the towers have different objectives and requirements. So one of them is like defeat a certain amount of officers and enemies within a time limit. Another one is like protect this peasant whilst you find the exit, and every time he gets hit it reduces the timer. My favourite one was actually defeating the pots. So you have to go around to destroy these pots. It can be from like 3 to 11 per stage. That's the only one that's any different, because if you defeat officers in that one, it actually increases the time limit. All of these have like pathetically low time limits. So as soon as you've done the objective, you have to like try and find the exit. Yeah, which is pretty sad. It's like 3 minutes, and if you accidentally pick a stage like, I don't know, the Mount Dingjun one, which is like absolutely massive, there's no way you can complete the objective and find the exit in time. Thankfully the stages always have the exit in the same place. So yeah, it's just really stupid the way they've done it. So the second part is actually more generous with the time, and objectives change stage to stage, going throughout all the objectives from the first part. Actually, one I should mention is you have to just go and defeat all the officers in the stage, and then it just clears out. Like there'll be literally nobody in the stage; it'll be empty, which is a bit of a strange thing to do. In this second mode, it has the miasma from Orochi 3 Gauntlets mode, which increases in the stages, making enemies harder and stronger to defeat. You can go and hit these lanterns to reset it. But depending on where you are in the tower, will have a different level of miasma. So like if it's like level 16, they're actually pretty tough to defeat to begin with, and it goes up relatively quickly as well. So the difficulty jump does go up there rather fast. So there's some universal things that are continuous across this mode. So you only get 3 characters, which you can command by blocking and then attacking or miso. So obviously your character on your left is you block and attack, and they'll swap to attack, defend or search, which you basically always have to get them to search because you'll never find the exit in time otherwise. Switch character doesn't actually change the location, it literally changes the character on the spot, so basically the same as the normal gameplay. If you die, you don't swap character, it's game over. Teammates that die actually have a timer this time, and will have dialogue when they die and return. Here's the real kicker in this mode as well. So you know on Gauntlet mode, enemies would like go around the place unless they were like a scripted one. Enemies in this mode don't move, they literally stand there. That's fun and engaging gameplay, isn't it? Fucking hell. So in the second part of Infinite mode, enemies can respawn or new ones appear in the stage. I'm not actually sure which one it is, but I think it depends on the objective. So the ones where you have to protect the Greek soldier, as it were, he will enemy grunts will like converge on him all the time. They'll just like appear next to him. They won't like officers won't go and attack him, but yeah. And also it's a bit stupid, he has a massive health bar, and when he gets down by like 5%, it'll take 45 seconds off the timer. So if you start with 3 minutes, you basically cannot complete the stage. You have to, it's a joke, basically. I want to say, as much as Gauntlet mode needed an upgrade, and some of the things like being able to command your characters individually, this is just a massive downgrade. I mean, the objectives are nice, changing it from stage to stage, but basically it's the same gameplay that we've gotten in the story mode. Like in Gauntlet mode, you had 5 characters, you had the formation attacks or whatever they were called. You had like, the special abilities. You could change your stats on the fly. Like if you had a defensive formation, you'd have stronger defense, more health and less attack and all stuff like that. And you had, the stupid little areas which would stun enemies and stuff. That was, that was pretty cool. and it was essentially last man standing because you didn't die if you actually did it. And the real kicker in this one is there's literally no reason to play this, other than if you want the ultimate weapons, which are a massive grind, because I'm pretty sure all the materials in that are randomised, as it were. So, unless you play a stage with a certain character in it, although there's so many characters, you're going to struggle to actually find that character. Yeah, there's no character unlocks or items linked to this mode. Like in Gauntlet mode, it at least offered the new ability to get orbs for easier weapon upgrades. You unlocked Hundun by playing that mode as well. You got some more unique items. It's just, yeah, rather disappointing in a way, not going to lie. As well as that, in Gauntlet mode you could actually see other people's teams, because it'd be otherworldly invasions, which I thought was actually a pretty cool idea. Although I'm pretty sure the colour swap feature is supposed to work, but if you like disconnect from the internet, it just resets them. So, and it would have been nice to see whose team they actually were. So sometimes you used to get really funny teams like Orochi, Orochi X, Hundun, Lubu, and Tadagatsu. It's just like, yeah, because that's going to be easy to defeat, isn't it? Anyway, so a few final things which I haven't really found anywhere to put in this review, if you could call it that. This game is also really, really easy. Like, it's almost comically easy. The game actively promotes it as well. With the promotion system, more weapon slots. You can now have 10 slots on weapons. It's not like you need gold slots to do that. You can literally just, you know, put all the elements on a weapon and one-shot basically anybody. Saying you can one-shot anybody as well is basically the same as enemies. Enemies can one-shot you as well. It was a pretty common thing in vanilla Warriors Archie 4, especially Athena. She would just, like, you know, stone you and then, well, turn you to stone and then just throw a weapon, you'd die. So, you know, that's what they think difficulty is. For example, something like Samurai Warriors 3, where you only have one element per weapon, and even playing on the hardest difficulty, you wouldn't die in one hit, but enemies were significantly more aggressive and would, you know, try and dodge your attacks. I think the main thing with this game is that you're not given enough tools to work with for the game to actually be challenging and yet fun. Here it's just like become so overpowered, but then you die and you kill enemies in one hit and they die in one hit as well. Except for the last boss, he seems to, you know, take ages to die or not take damage at all, because they think that's how a story should be done. Getting one shot and one-shotting everybody is like a joke thing they put in Sengoku Basara for, you know, Yoshihiro, but whatever. Enemy magic attacks basically pointless in this as well, because they take so long for them to execute. You can just counter them straight away, so any sort of chance the enemy's going to attack you, you can just, you know, stop them from doing it. That's all I have to really say about that. I'm not going to talk about the challenge mode, because let's face it, the two that were added with the season pass were reskins from Dynasty Warriors 8, and most people only played challenge mode to get trophies related to them, and, you know, on the Steam version of these games you just get mass amounts of cheaters, even on like PS4 as well, so whatever. The multiplayer is basically dead as well, so not going to talk about that. Overall, I think this game is a fucking joke. I'm not going to lie. If you really want to be overpowered and just, you know, have mindless fun, this game is probably for you, but for anybody else that's, you know, even played one of the games that have come out in the last 7 years that this game is based on, just fucking play one of those instead. They are significantly better than this. It's just, you just wonder where all the effort went. Like I said earlier, I'm pretty sure most of the upgrades that have been added in this system is something you could add yourself with a cheat engine. It's just so unimaginative, and I'm not gonna. I don't want to say this lightly, and I'm not joking. I would rather play Warriors All-Stars than this. I know that is. I couldn't actually believe it when I thought that the other day, and like it really is a joke, this game. I just fucking hate it. Like, Warriors Orochi is a series that most people love and enjoy it for what it was, you know, being overpowered, but this game is just like, I don't want to say this series is dead, but it might as well be. Another series they've driven into the ground. the only thing more disappointing than that is actually the response that most people got when they said Warriors Orochi 4 Vanilla was average. I mean, I had people saying I deliberately call games bad, and then immediately turn around and say this game was average. It's like, well, if you actually watch the review instead of acting like a fucking cunt for once in your life, you might actually get somewhere, mate. Yeah, it's almost like I make reviews to warn people about spending money on bad games. But there you are. Hope people enjoy this review, because I certainly didn't fucking enjoy playing the game, or writing this, or, you know, editing this, or whatever. So thank you very much, and I'll see you with some, you know, less shit content. Bye bye.